Hey guys, Coach Mike here. And this time I'm coming at you with a question that I knew I was eventually going to get. And somebody just asked it to me this past weekend, so I said, you know what, I might as well address this now and maybe I'll just put it into the newsletter. But I was in the stands at a high school sporting event and I was speaking to a dad, and he was there watching his son's game, but he has a daughter who plays sports as well, and he said to me, you know, his daughter's 16 years old, my daughter's team just signed up to train at one of these CrossFit places. Do you think that's a good idea? Boy, talk about a loaded question, because CrossFit is currently one of the most controversial and popular forms of training in the fitness market today. And there's a lot I could say about CrossFit, but what I'd like to do is confine my comments here to whether or not it's a good idea for young athletes to do, talking about preteen and teenage athletes to do. Because if you're a relatively healthy, mature adult and want a really difficult workout that's going to push you and motivate you and everything else, I've heard a lot of good things about CrossFit in that regard. So I don't even want to go there and say anything about the form or anything like that, because I don't want to get those CrossFitters angry. But young athletes are what I deal with, so I definitely want to direct my comments there. I do not think that CrossFit, by and large, is a good thing for young athletes to do. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, in CrossFit workouts, there tend to be a whole lot of technically proficient and metabolically demanding exercises, such as Olympic lifts, plyometrics, there's a lot of medicine ball stuff, and just a lot of high repetition, high metabolic demand exercise. Now, nothing wrong with that because you want to push yourself to become more fit. The problem is when you're doing things like hang cleans or snatches or various types of box jumps where you're jumping up and down onto a platform. As I said, a lot of metabolic demand, a lot of nervous system demand. And you need to keep the repetitions, especially with young athletes, on the lower side so that you don't invite fatigue, because as they get fatigued, form is going to suffer. And you allow those energy substrates that they use and that nervous system to recover in between sets. When you start cranking out 15, 20, 30 repetition sets of hang cleans or box jumps, you're really just asking for trouble. Because when you have young athletes that are often challenged in terms of flexibility and mobility, they've got strength imbalances, they might have some postural issues going on. If you start doing a lot of high repetition stuff and you're not really on top of the form the way it needs to be, in my view, you're just really, as I said, inviting an injury. And I've seen plenty of different CrossFit classes going on. I know there's some great CrossFit instructors out there, but it's difficult to watch large groups of kids. I know from sometimes just watching a couple of athletes at once, and I'll see 5 or 6 things that I want to address. I can't imagine having a team like this father's daughter's team, a bunch of high school age soccer girls, and they're jumping up and down on boxes and doing Olympic lifts without much prior training experience. I think you're going to run into a problem there because, as I said, young athletes have a lot of movement challenges to begin with when they don't have a lot of training experience, and something like CrossFit, although a good workout for some, I don't believe is the way to go with this population. So there you go, my opinions on CrossFit for young athletes, but keep those questions coming in because next time I might be answering yours. I'll see you next time.